Hello, how are you, my friend? So, I have been spending a lot of time about where I'm focusing my attention, what I'm thinking about, what I have in my house, where my energy is going. Our attention can be in the form of how we invest our time, where we invest our energy. Where am I wasting my energy with unneeded things in my life? And where can I be more purposeful with my energy? And this has really come up for me as I've been anticipating moving to Sedona, and I realized just how many things I have been holding on to and how many things I've been giving my energy to over the years, just by virtue of them being in my house and me looking at them, being aware that they are in my house and that they're not necessarily something that I find essential for me. So I'm clearing my house of stuff and it feels really good. But it also feels a bit jarring because I've taken so much out of closets and I've moved things out of the garage and I've said goodbye to some things that I had emotional attachment to. And they were very comfortable in my life. I was very comfortable having them. And that's kind of what it feels like moving from comfort to discomfort, feeling that jarring feeling when you purposefully take a look at your life and your law practice and you make decisions about what needs to change to create the life and the law practice that you love. So we might even dread the process, right? Because we're afraid of what it might mean to change things or what meaning we put on current things that are currently in our life or processes that are in our life or people, employees, clients who are in our life. Will it mean I'm going to need to upend everything and then I'm going to feel out of control? Will it mean that it will be more work for me? Will it mean less money for me? And there's just so many unanswered questions that our brain poses for us that we're not even aware of. So today I want to shine a light on what it means to be purposeful so you can create the prosperous 2024 you want, both in your firm and in your life. You're going to want to grab a pen and a paper so you can take notes as you're listening, because this episode is going to help you prepare for 2024. And yes, the new year is almost here, my friend, and it will also help you prepare for my half-day event happening December 2nd called Your Firm's Best Year Yet. Banish overwhelm in your firm and strategize growth in 2024. You can sign up for the waitlist at dinacataldo.com/2024. For those of you who have been asking me if there is a way to work with me in a group, this is for you. This is your opportunity to work with me in a half-day event series. It's going to be part training, part coaching. You get to ask me questions and work with me to help you strategize 2024. And for my one-on-one clients, this event is included in your current coaching package with me. You are already in, so you don't have to do anything. I wanted to hold a half-day event because most lawyers do not designate time to think about what is going to help their practice really streamline it, curb the overwhelm, calm the overwhelm. And this is such a great opportunity to help you get focused and help you get purposeful about 2024. It's time that you get to set aside for yourself to be intentional about your approach to next year. So go to dinacataldo.com/2024, sign up for the waitlist. And then as we get closer, I'm going to be sending out more information. And on today's episode, we're going to use this as an opportunity to think about exactly where you want to focus your attention on in 2024 for maximum effectiveness, to truly create your best year yet. So I'm going to give you some questions to ask yourself to help you get clarity and focus. You're also going to get insight into some of what my clients are working on or have worked on in the past, so you can get ideas for what you want to do in your own practice next year. So get out your notepad and pen and let's get started. All right, number one, I want you to write down these questions. The first question that I want you to ask yourself is, where are you frustrated in your practice right now? There's tons of questions you could ask yourself to think about goal setting, but what I find is that when lawyers come to me, they are overwhelmed and they have a lot of frustrations in their practice. And what they are doing is they're focusing on, yes, I want lots of money, I want lots of revenue, but they're actually making revenue, like they have money coming in. But what they're not doing is really clearing the frustration out of their practice so that they can do the work without the frustration and bring in more work. Because you can't bring in more work in a healthy way until you've cleared the frustrations. So I'm really aiming this question at you if you're feeling any kind of overwhelm, any kind of frustration in your practice. I want you to ask yourself this question to help you start thinking through problems you can be solving in 2024 to make your life easier and to grow your practice easier. So this is your opportunity to lay it all out. Be honest with yourself here. Don't tell yourself, oh, it's not that bad, or, I'll deal with it, or, it could be worse. I hear that all the time. And those thoughts are the kiss of death to a purposeful and prosperous practice. So I really want you to just lay it all out. Don't hold back, even if you think it's like, oh, that's really a piddly thing. It is on your mind. It's something that's come up for you. That means it's a frustration. That means it's something that you can solve. We just want to put it down on paper so that we can do this whole process that I'm going to walk you through, and then you can make your decisions about whether you want to address it. So just write it down. What's nagging at you? What are you irritated by? Is your intake process taking too long? Is your assistant not getting enough done? Are you working too many hours? Just write it all down. Question number 2, look at every frustration in your practice and get specific about the frustration. I want you to use the specificity principle. The specificity principle is something I coined based on my observations of how specificity affects problem solving and decision making. It is 100% effective. For each frustration, ask yourself, what specifically does that mean? So for instance, when you say your intake process is taking too long, what does too long mean? How long is your intake process right now? How long do you think your intake process should be? When we're not specific, we're creating bigger problems for ourselves that cannot be solved. So we really want to do this. So another way to approach this, if your assistant isn't getting enough done, right? Very vague phrase. What specifically does enough mean? What is he or she accomplishing now, and in how many hours are they accomplishing it? What do you think they should be getting done in how many hours, right? Make sure you get really specific here. If you're working too many hours, how many hours are you working now? And what exactly are you doing in those hours? How many hours do you want to work? We want to get this really specific, because if we're not specific, we're not going to be able to get the problems solved. Number 3, I want you to look at each one of the frustrations that you listed, and I want you to brainstorm solutions. So right now, I'm working with several lawyers on solutions to hitting their revenue goals in 2024. And we're brainstorming solutions like creating an opt-in guide to connect with prospective clients and collect their email addresses, create an email sequence to help cultivate leads, create a podcast directing people to book a call with them or purchase a smaller ticket item, interview potential associates for expanding their practice, create a closing procedure to stay in touch with former clients and collect testimonials, create a social media strategy, create more opportunities to do speaking engagements, create a referral incentive and promote it, create more systems and train employees on them to help the practice run more smoothly. So these clients that I'm working with aren't particularly frustrated with their revenue, but you can use this as an example of how to brainstorm next steps to solve for your frustrations. You can also use this for ideas on what you may want to do to hit your goals. So for each frustration, I want you to brainstorm potential solutions. So if you're, working with an employee you think is taking too long, one of the ways I want you to reframe this is, instead of it being the employee's problem, I want it to be your problem. I want you to say, I have created an environment where my employee is taking X amount of hours to do something when I think it should be taking Y amount of hours to do something. And when you reframe it in terms of, I have created an environment where this is happening in my practice, then you can start solving more easily. You could start brainstorming and saying, well, what can I do to solve this problem? Well, one, I've already talked to her. So why do I think that this is continuing to go on? What doesn't she understand about my reasoning? What might make it easier for them to do their job? Have I created a system that's easy for them to follow where they can understand where the items are they need to access, what scripts they might need to access when they're doing a telephone call, all of the things. Do they have a script for the telephone call? So just know that when we reframe it in terms of it's our responsibility and I have created an environment where this is happening, then we can solve for problems. And then once you've done that, then you can start looking at, okay, the next steps that we're going to talk about in this episode. All right, number 4, ask yourself what your top 5 frustrations are in your practice and circle them. And then these are the things that are going to take up tons of time or energy in your life, and you're not seeing the traction that you want to see. Those are 5 goals that potentially you could focus on for 2024. And then once you got those accomplished, you could come back to your list and pick additional ones. But I want you to ask number 5 first. So number 5, which of those problems that you just specified in number 4 are easy to solve? Sometimes I work through this process with my clients and they discover that they have a really big frustration that has a super simple fix. It's something that can be solved with a 15-minute conversation. Then they've checked that goal off the list immediately. And it's no longer something that they want to plan for a whole year, right? So if that's the case, then go back and pick another goal off your list. You're going to take that 15-minute task, that really super simple fix. You're just going to put it on your calendar this week and you're going to get it done. Okay. And you're going to get that progress done right now. So go through this process again and again to see if there are other easy fixes. And then you'll have your top 5 frustrations that you can then use as a goal to work on through 2024. Okay. Now, number 6, take a look at each of your goals that you have picked, those 5 frustrations, and write down all of your thoughts about them. Just take them one at a time and write down all of your thoughts. Be honest, you might think they sound fun, or you might think it sounds like a lot of work. You may think it feels hopeless to get any of it done because you just don't have enough time. Your thoughts about the goal are going to reveal where your real work is. And if you think you don't have enough time, use the specificity principle. How much time do you think each goal will take you when you break it down throughout the year? It will likely only be an hour or 2 a week when you really look at it, and it might only be for a quarter and not a whole year. If your brain still says you don't have enough time, your real work is up-leveling your mindset around your time management skills. And that may mean finally learning how to use a calendar, or it may mean finally learning to delegate, or it may mean learning how to feel uncomfortable and say no to work you don't really want. But something's got to give here if you want to achieve something different. The important thing here is to notice that your brain more than likely will want to revolt against change. Expect it. These thoughts do not mean anything about what you're capable of or what's possible or what you can do. They are just thoughts. They're just thoughts that go through our brain. Your brain, all of our brains, are afraid of change. So it will generate these kinds of thoughts. Even if they feel true, know that they are not true. Your brain is a skilled deceiver. It's going to lie to get what it wants. In this case, it wants comfort. So it wants things to stay the same, no matter how frustrated and overwhelmed you might feel. That feels normal and safe to it. Each time you up level in your life, it will feel uncomfortable. Each time you feel uncomfortable, that means you are headed in the right direction. It's just like at the beginning of the podcast when I was saying, like, I feel uncomfortable right now. It's kind of jarring, right? I'm moving all of these things. Things aren't in the places where I'm used to them being. I've got to get used to this now where I'm not having all of the things that I'm used to having because I'm purging. Well, that's an uncomfortable feeling. It is not what my brain wants. My brain wants it nice and calm. It wants things all the way that it used to be. Nothing changes. Everything is where it as it should be. But I have to remind myself, oh, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean I shouldn't be cleaning out the closets. It doesn't mean I shouldn't be changing things and shifting things in my house. This is just the season where I feel uncomfortable because I'm up leveling my life. And so that's how I want you to see this as you're moving through this process. Number 7, once you have your list of thoughts, I want you to look at all the thoughts that express doubt. So for each thought that tells you that you can't do it because ... fill in the blank, I want you to ask yourself how you can do it, right? And what can you do to make more time? What do you know that tells you that you can do it? What evidence do you have that shows you it is possible to make time for what you want? Spend a lot of time here because you need to show your brain that it has the potential for success before you can move forward. You've got to be able to say, oh, yes, I can do this. Like, you don't have to be like, it's done. It's 100%. I know it's happening. All you have to do is show your brain, okay, I've created time for things before. I mean, when I was in law school, I felt like it was impossible to get things done. But you know what? I always managed to figure it out and I did my finals. I always feel like when I'm prepping for a hearing that I don't have enough time. And then I create the time to prep for the hearing. Like, you are a master at creating more time, but it takes consciously saying, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to do when we want to make change because it feels so uncomfortable. Your brain is going to want to fight back. I want you to know that's normal. It doesn't mean anything. It just means all you got to do is like redirect your brain over and over and over again. So number 8, what you listed out in number 7 are all the thoughts you're going to need to practice as you go through your goals in 2024. Okay, so number 8 isn't so much a question as a task that I want to offer to you. I want you to take those thoughts, those beliefs, why you know you can do it, how you know you can figure things out, all of those thoughts that show you, yes, I can do this. I want you to put them on Post-it notes and I want you to place them on your desk or print out your notes and look at them every day. Do what you need to do to show your brain the truth that you can accomplish anything that you want. And this is something that has really helped me. I have little Post-its with thoughts that I'm working on my desk, and they change over time. So if I have a thought I'm working on for a particular goal, I want to make sure it's within my eyesight so I can see it and be like, and kind of comfort myself and say, wait a minute. My brain's telling me one thing, but I know that I can 100% achieve it. And this thought is the one I need to practice because we always have these options in our brain. We don't always show ourselves the flip side of the coin. I was talking to a client about this today, and she was noticing this herself as when she talks to her clients, she notices that, she is thinking about their perspective and she's able to see the flip side of the coin, right? And see her employee's perspective. So she's seeing both sides of the coin. She's able to see it objectively. We want to start doing that with our brain. We want to start seeing like, oh, I see my brain's telling me I can't do it, but I want to consciously show my brain that I can do it. I need to see both sides of the coin. I want to at least get on equal footing there. And if you want help diving into your practice, streamlining it, building out systems that will help you and your team get more done, or if you simply want someone to help you calm the overwhelm in your law practice so you can have a life, book a strategy session with me. Working with me one-on-one is the fastest route to hit your goals. We meet each week to make your life easier and focus on exactly what you need to help you create the life and law practice that you want. Book a strategy session with me and we will talk in depth about a plan designed for you. All right, my friend, I will talk to you next week. And you can book that strategy session at dinacataldo.com/strategy session. I'll talk to you then. Bye.